Today we're going to be reading The Crane Girl, adapted by Curtis Manley, illustrations by Lynn Wang. Guide to Pronunciation in Haiku. These are the characters' names, how the names are pronounced, and how the haiku showing each character's thoughts are printed. So anytime you see the green, that means it's the boy Yasuhiro. Anytime you see the reddish color, it's Hiroko. And the boy's father is Ryota. So, Yasuhiro, Hiroko, and Ryota. Okay. From the darkness an animal's sudden cry, its fear in mine. Yasuhiro dropped his armload of firewood to follow the sound across the sharp buckwheat stubble of the landlord's field. He almost stepped on the crane, nearly invisible where it lay in the snow. A trap held one foot, but the crane looked unharmed. As Yasuhiro knelt, the bird closed its eyes and shuddered. Yasuhiro clicked his tongue to calm the bird. I'm not here to hurt you. And then this little red portion says, cold, hard trap, he sets me free with warm hands. When the bird stood up, it was as tall as Yasuhiro. He stroked the soft feathers on its long neck with his fingertips, and the bird gently pressed the red top of its head against Yasuhiro's face. The crane's head against my cheek, how warm it was. So this green part is the boy right here. That's what he's thinking. The crane suddenly turned away, began running, and took flight over the wintry hills. Yasuhiro watched until the bird was a pale speck against the dark sky. Then he picked up the firewood his father had sent him and hurried home. The next night, someone knocked on the door. Yasuhiro opened it and found a girl standing there, pale and shivering, tears frozen on her cheeks. Please, she said, bowing. I have no home and nothing to eat. May I stay here with you? I will help with chores. I won't be any trouble. Yasuhiro led her to the warmth of the hearth. Father will decide whether you can stay. Yasuhiro's father, Ryota, got up and bowed. We are not rich like others in town, but you are welcome here as long as you can work hard. If you are lazy or steal from me, you cannot stay. Do you agree to that? Yes, sir, the girl said, and bowed again. Thank you. You may call me Hiroko. Yasuhiro and Hiroko became friends. They shared their chores and spent their time together. Springtime rain, I teach her games, everyone else knows. Each morning, Ryota walked to town looking for work, unloading boats or carrying heavy baskets. He returned in the evening, usually with a fish or noodles. But when he couldn't find work, he came home with only his sadness, crying the name of Yasuhiro's mother. Mother died when I was young, Yasuhiro whispered to Hiroko. One of those nights. Father says she wove the finest kimono, silk, on the whole island. We still have her loom and thread. But father had to sell all the fabric she made, except my scarf. Ah, Yasu, it's beautiful, Hiroko said as she stroked the soft fabric. His mother's love threads all colors. glowing in the weave. The next day Hiroku bowed to Ryota. If it would please you, Ryota-san, I will weave silk for you. It will bring a good price in the market. I have but one request. Neither you nor Yasuhiro must open the door or look at me while I am weaving, no matter how long I might take. Do you agree to that? Yasuhiro and Ryota nodded and said yes. Then I will weave for you. She took the bowl of rice and bean sprouts that Yasuhiro offered and closed the door. My wife's loom pending on my own heart behind the door. The loom sounded all that night and the next day. Only after dinner did it fall silent. When Hiroku finally opened the door, she was carrying a bolt of cloth as light as summer breeze, white silk speckled with black tracks of winter birds. A merchant bought the silk for as much gold as Ryota could earn in 5 months. Now Ryota often slept late. By the time he walked to the village, there was no work left. Instead, he sat with the merchants in the sun, eating and drinking all afternoon. The gold was gone in just 3 months. Heavy sacks of coins, why should I beg for work? So again, Hiroku closed the door to weave, taking with her a bowl of tofu and ginger that Yasuhiro had prepared for her. This time the girl spent 2 full days with the loom. The fabric was even finer than before. Weightless silk, her trembling hands and tired eyes. A merchant paid so much that Ryota stopped even trying to look for work. He went to town only to sit by the docks with the merchants and boast of the fine silk he would weave for them. Cup by cup his father swallows all the money. In a few months, all of the gold was spent again. More cloth, demanded Ryota. Hiroku looked down at the floor. I am still too weak, sir. Next month I will weave more. You will do it now, insisted Ryota, and before Yaroshu could stop him, Ryota pushed the girl into the room and slid the door shut. Yasuhiro looked at the door and remembered his promise to Hiroku never to open it. Knock of her loom. I put down the chopsticks and stare at my rice. A day passed and then another. The loom's rhythm seemed slower than each passing hour. Ryota paced back and forth. Finally, the loom fell quiet. Are you done with the cloth? Ryota asked, and slid the door open. He cried out and fell back onto the floor. Yasuhiro rushed towards his father, but stopped and stared. Through the open doors he saw a long, thin neck and feathers flecked with blood, and then a great wing slammed the door shut. 3 days, how those merchants must laugh at me. Ryota ran past Yasuhiro and stumbled outside into the darkness. Even the moon gone, all my good luck lost again. When Hiroku finally came out, her face was pale and her eyes were red from crying. Yasu, here is the silk for your father. Once he sells it, he needs to not bear any burdens for many months. I'm sorry about father, Yasuhiro said, gazing down at the fabric. Hiroku pressed her head against him. Yasuhiro thought of what he'd seen through the door and touched Hiroku's neck. Why did you pluck your own feathers for the cloth? You saved my life when I was caught in the trap, said the girl. You were so gentle and kind, I wanted to be with you. Hiroku's father's, her love for me threaded through the silk. And this says, the last time I will touch his cheek. Cold tears. Hiroku pulled away from him. But I can stay no longer. She hurried outside and within 3 steps changed back into a crane and flew away. Everything lost. How could he ever love a crane? Yasuhiro ran and ran, calling after her and sobbing. When she was just a dark speck in the dawn sky, he could run no more. He must have fallen asleep, for suddenly Hiroku was bending over him. Yasu, go home! You will freeze here in the snow. I won't go back, said Yasuhiro. Take me with you. Hiroku shook her head. Our life is too different. It's a hard life. You wouldn't like it. I will like it because I'll be with you. Then follow me. She began running and flap your wings hard. But I don't. But he did. He did have wings. Together they flew over the hills and along the river to the marshes at the edge of the sea. Her people clacked their beaks to welcome and danced for them. Yasuhiro and Hiroku stayed together all the rest of their long lives and raised many crane children, one by one by one. Matching her wing beats, my heart soars. Spring sun, our chick's feathers wet from the egg. How lucky we are to be cranes. The end.